the first program we're talking about is the Brandeis and Copenhagen program, which I already mentioned, is the economics and business summer program. It takes place in the second half of summer from July 4th, essentially, until the middle of August. And it's looking to be, if everything cooperates in the world, it's looking to be the first study abroad experience that students will be able to have at Brandeis after all the uncertainty we've had prior to that. So as I already mentioned, there are 3 classes that students take. Actually, there are 2 classes, 3 classes students can choose from, including the required microeconomic theory class, which I will be teaching and I like to teach, as well as a behavioral economics class, which is not available at Brandeis, but is a really fun class if you have an interest in economics. It's really talking about how basically everything you learned in economics is wrong, and speaks more about kind of how other ways that we and psychologists look at how people make decisions and how people make economic decisions. Finally, there's a business class on corporate finance, and with a European lean to it. And that's another class if you're doing an econ and business double major or a business minor, that might be helpful for you. So students take 2 out of these 3 classes. In the next slide, which I remember has a group picture in Copenhagen, there we go. Those are some of our students from the 2018 program, right? Melissa, are you there or not? I can't remember.
I think I went the year after that one.
Oh, okay, great. So, so like we said, Econ 80, the microeconomic theory class, is a major requirement or a minor requirement, and also fulfills the SS requirement in the core. And the behavioral economics is an upper level elective and a business and society elective. And the business 118A is, also a business administration elective. And like we said, students choose 2 out of 3. But I wanted to stop and talk about the photo for a second, because I think one of the real benefits of doing a program like this, and I'm sure Melissa will echo this, is that you really get to meet a lot of other Brandeis students who are doing sort of similar things to you, especially with the year we've had. It's been hard for many students to connect and maintain connections with other students at Brandeis. And the summer program is a great way to get to know a bunch of fellow students and a bunch of students who are basically your same major, and may turn out to be people that you can connect with once you get back to Brandeis in the fall. Let's see. So the 4th slide is, students take this over the summer, and it can help, and Melissa was the one that told me this, it can help sort of accelerate people's progress towards their majors. It might even allow you to get ahead so you can take another major, or think about a BA/MA program. Also, Denmark is a whole other culture, and immersing yourself for 6 weeks in that culture is going to be a really positive thing, as well as the ability to take classes not offered at Brandeis. Let's see. And so, yeah, that's kind of my selling points. You are here at the Extravaganza, so if you have questions, you can ask them here, or if you're watching this later, you can contact me or contact Ari, who's here, or contact Melissa, who is the, like we said, the study abroad ambassador. And, the application deadline is March 18th. So this is kind of starting to be a top of mind thing. We can help you, through the application process and what that might entail. And we'd love to talk to you about what your plans are and how the Brandeis Summer Program might fit into them. All right, so thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. Melissa, do you want to share anything about your own personal experience on the Brandeis and Copenhagen program?
Yeah, it's a lot of reiterating what Professor Clark said, but just to introduce myself really quickly, I'm a senior who's majoring in business, economics, and environmental studies. And as Professor Clark mentioned, one of the big reasons I'm able to do that is because of this program. Since it was over the summer, I really was able to get ahead in my major and it allowed me to take on an additional major. I also know people who actually decided to graduate early because this program helped them get enough credits. He also mentioned the friends aspect of this program, and I will reiterate, I made 5 really great friends on this program out of the group of, I think it was 18 kids. We still talk every day. They live right next to me and we always hang out. So that was another great part. And just finally, I'll touch on the 2 courses I took, microtheory and behavioral econ. The behavioral econ class was probably the best class I've taken in my undergrad. It was so fun. We were literally like running around the streets of Copenhagen, running different experiments, and it was just a really great time, but also a really enriching academic experience. So if you have any more questions about being a student there during this program, you can definitely reach out to me as well.
Awesome, thank you. I think that Melissa and Dr. Clark touched on it, but certainly some of the benefits that students also often find in Brandeis-Led programs is that opportunity to study in a new culture, to take a step outside your comfort zone and have a new experience alongside a group of other students from Brandeis. We like to keep these groups relatively small. This is not going to be a group of 50 people all traveling together. These programs are not usually more than 15 or 20 students. And it really gives you the opportunity to get to know everybody else in the group, but also get to develop a relationship with that faculty member who you are studying with while you're on the study abroad program. So we will turn it now to Professor Jonathan Unglob, who is an art historian and the faculty director for Brandeis in Siena, which is the other Brandeis-Led program that occurs over the summer. And after Professor Unglob is finished talking about Brandeis in Siena, we'll certainly have time to answer some questions.
Hello, everyone. I'm just sharing the screen. Good afternoon. Let me just start my PowerPoint. And so is the PowerPoint over the whole screen, except for my little icon?
It is.
Okay, good. Hi, welcome everyone. I just want to say a few words about the Brandeis in Siena program, which with any luck will be running this summer from July 8th to August 17th. It's a Brandeis-led program in which we collaborate with a local school, the Siena Art Institute. It's 2 classes. One is a studio art class. The other is an art history. One is taught by a Brandeis faculty. That's me. I lead the class Art in Tuscany from the age of Dante to the Medici. And the other class is a studio art class based on painting and creating a series of projects inspired by the environment in Tuscany and Siena, and also focused on learning older techniques in painting. These are both Brandeis classes. They're not typical study abroad courses in which only the credit transfers, but not the grade. My colleague this summer will be a Sienese native, Franca Mariani. Just a quick view of Siena to whet your appetite. This is the beautiful cathedral, the Duomo in Siena. This is the Palazzo Pubblico, the city hall, which faces onto one of the most beautiful piazzas in the world, the sloping amphitheater-shaped Piazza del Campo in Siena. And twice every summer, and once while you're there, the piazza transforms into a horse race track for mounting this extraordinary festival that dates back to the 1400s, known as Il Palio. Each neighborhood in Siena, there are 17 of them, 10 are chosen, support a horse and a jockey, and there's a race or 3 relays around the track to determine the winner of the Palio, a beautiful standard with a flag. This event is one of the most popular festivals in all of Italy, and if you're in the Siena during July and August, you're completely swept up in the preparations for this festival. A very brief race, but an entire summer-long series of preparations for the musical performances, for the parade, for the flag throwing, and even if you're not particularly interested in horse racing, the enthusiasm for the Palio is infectious and unavoidable if you're there. And here we can see some prior students watching the Palio. In middle of the piazza becomes the arena for the spectators, and the horse track is around the perimeter. This is Franca Mariani, a Sienese native, who will be my colleague this summer and leading the painting course. Students all live in apartments in the historic center of Siena, one of the most intact medieval and Renaissance zones in all of Europe, which city that still has its medieval walls. It's one of the most perfectly preserved and breathtaking urban environments in Italy. The Siena Art Institute is located just outside these walls in this lush garden setting, and this is where the studio art classes and the art history classes will take place. There are studios within the building, but of course we'll take advantage of outside inspiration whenever possible, especially given the circumstances of this year. And even though there are some classes taught in the seminar room in the Institute on the art history side, we take every opportunity to study works of art on site and in person throughout the city, in museums, in churches, in the town hall, and in other Renaissance and medieval buildings. And of course, getting right up close to the works of art, really getting a sense of their technique and facture also informs the studio painting course. And of course, the entire city of Siena is a laboratory for the course. Here we see classes on, or class sessions on architecture and urbanism. Another great draw for spending 5 to 6 weeks of your summer is the food, which needless, I don't need to tell you how extraordinary the food in Italy is, but I think these paintings, these photos convey that. In addition to studying on site in Siena, we'll make several excursions to supplement the resources in Siena proper. We'll have 2 day trips to Florence to study great masterpieces such as Michelangelo's David and Ghiberti's Portals of Paradise in person. Go to the Uffizi and Accademia galleries, as well as studying works of art in various churches, not just in terms of art history lectures, but also engaging with the masters in certain studio exercises and drawing assignments, but also in the studio class, drawing al fresco, drawing the urban environment to inform the larger painting projects. A little bit farther afield than Florence, we'll also be making excursions to smaller centers that are nonetheless instrumental to the material we're covering in the art history course. There'll be an excursion to Assisi, the birthplace of St. Francis, and the basilica that commemorates him and contains his tomb was one of the most important sites for late medieval fresco painting in Europe. And also, like Siena, Assisi is a breathtaking environment, not only the town, but the surrounding countryside, which will provide another opportunity for al fresco drawing. Another place we visit is the enchanting hill town, San Gimignano. And I guess that's all I really have to say about the program. It's certainly an extraordinary place to spend 5 weeks. Siena is the perfectly sized city for that amount of exposure. It's small enough not to be overwhelming, not to be completely inundated with tourists, but you really get a sense of the place and of the culture, especially with all of the polio activities that take place during that time. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and anyone who's interested in opening an application should first meet with Ari, but then of course reach out to me, unglaub@brandeis.edu, and Wardwell, Joseph Wardwell is the studio art professor who leads the program on alternate years. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Unglaub. Brandeis in Siena is obviously an amazing program as well, and a program that we've been proud to run in collaboration with our colleagues at the Siena Art Institute for the past, what, 5 years, 6 years?
This would be the sixth year.
Wow, amazing. So with that, we're happy to take any questions that folks have. We're also available via email. Obviously, you can reach out to myself or either of the faculty members who are running either of the programs, as well as Melissa with any questions about the experience. One question that I see that's come in via the chat is from a student who is a mid-year and will be starting at Brandeis in a couple of weeks this semester.
Welcome.
And so the first thing that we would like to say is welcome to Brandeis. We're excited to have you as a part of the community. You're correct that most Brandeis students, or that many Brandeis students study abroad during their junior year. If you want to study abroad during a semester, students are eligible to do so during their 5th, 6th, and 7th semesters on campus. But students are also eligible to study abroad during the summer on a variety of summer programs, including Brandeis-Led programs, any summer after your first year. And so in the case of a mid-year student, that would include, the first summer after your first semester on campus. As long as you've fulfilled the prerequisites, which it sounds like you have, you would be eligible to study abroad on Brandeis in Copenhagen. You'll also want to keep in mind some of the other eligibility requirements. There is a 3.0 GPA requirement for admission to the program. And myself, Dr. Clark, Melissa, any of us would be happy to talk to you about your interest in the program. Another question that we have been getting a lot recently, and so I'll address it as well, relates obviously to the COVID-19 pandemic and the fact that this is still a pandemic that much of the world has not gotten under control. So this is obviously something that we continue to monitor as we look forward to summer 2021, including both the conditions here in the United States and in Massachusetts, but also in Italy and in Denmark, the host countries where students and Brandeis-Led programs are located. At this time, we still feel optimistic that 6 months from now, when the programs are starting, it will be possible to run study abroad programs over the summer. Given that, we certainly will always be realistic with you in explaining what some of the restrictions might be, what the requirements may be for entry into countries, and we'll also certainly be upfront with you about thinking about parallel planning should study abroad not be possible over the summer, right? We will certainly want to have conversations with you about what your plan B will be, just in case, so that when you're applying to these programs, you also are not going to be put in an unfortunate situation if the programs aren't able to run. But at this moment, the university feels like it will be possible to run summer study abroad programs by July, and are certainly happy to talk to you, talk to your families, talk to anyone who has additional questions about that. as appropriate. So are there any other questions or anything that any of you think would be helpful to add? Well, we will be posting this recording so that other students are able to watch it on their own time. But we are very grateful to those who are here, as well as Dr. Clark and Professor Anglab and Melissa for giving us their time on this Thursday afternoon. If you have additional questions about study abroad on Brandeis-Led programs or just study abroad in general, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. It's brandeis.edu/abroad. And abroad@brandeis.edu. The application deadline for Brandeis-Led programs is March 18th, so it's about 2 months away. So definitely start thinking about what your plans are for the summer, and don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you have any questions. So thank you for being here.
Thank you all.